Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the Fueled by Generosity podcast. I am Rich, founder and CEO, Chief Impact Officer for Generosity Global. Want to welcome everybody here today to this show. This is probably show number 7 of this podcast, and so far so good. I hope you all have been having a good time listening to all of our guests and also listening to all that we have going on at Generosity Global. Today is going to be a phenomenal show. I have an amazing person that I've grown to love and call a big brother. And he is here to impart some wisdom as well as share his life story. But more of that as we have built this podcast, really built and centered around using the power of generosity to do good around the world. Our guest today is an epitome of somebody who has not only mastered the art of making money or being successful, but also has turned that into using his money, using his influence, using his position in life to impact the lives of others in his community and people around the world. So it's going to be an intriguing show. I'm going to be bringing him on very soon, very shortly. But again, I want to welcome all of our guests wherever you are signing in from. Please make sure you let me know so we can shout you out. If you are watching from our Facebook page, thank you. If you're watching from YouTube, thank you. If you're watching from my personal page, thank you as well. If you want your comment to be posted on the screen so we can read it or we can see it and we can interact and engage with you as a listener, make sure you watch directly from the Generosity Global page. You can just hashtag Generosity Global, or you can go to the YouTube page and we will be there, so that way we can really make this an engaging session. It can make this an engaging conversation. And if you have questions for our guest today, please, we want to make sure we leave enough time to answer those questions. But as you all know, the Fueled by Generosity podcast is all about bringing you, our supporters, our fans, our donors, our partners inside the mission of Generosity Global. We want to talk about our water projects in Africa. We want to talk about our showers that we deliver to people experiencing homelessness here in America. We want to talk about Selfless Saturday here in America. At the same time, we are also building a platform where we are recognizing other people who are leveraging the power of generosity to do good, leveraging the power of generosity to impact the world, not only here in stateside, but also around the world. So sometimes it will be me talking about Generosity Global or some of our team members in Generosity Global talking about the work that we do. And other times I'll be bringing on guests that are local, people who are in other countries, really engaging them in a conversation to spark a movement of doing good and transforming our lives and transforming the world. So I hope you all are ready for today. I want to bring on board right now my friend, my big brother, my mentor, my personal advisor when it comes to business strategy and just being a man, none other than the founder and CEO of Concierge and Staffing, as well as Vital Alkaline Water, who are today's sponsors and actually sponsors for Generosity Global, as well as the Fueled by Generosity podcast. I want to bring on board, help me welcome my big brother, George Anderson. There he is.
Thank you.
George, how are you?
I'm trying to meet the gentleman that you were just talking about.
Too modest, brother. One thing I know for sure is you bring humility to the table. You bring excellence to the table. But more so, I am blessed. Myself and Erica are blessed to call you family and call you big brother. And I am definitely honored to have you on this today's show. I think it's been a long time coming, but as we know, everything has its place and time and season. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for those words, Rich. When the cameras are not running and people are not looking, the feeling is absolutely and unequivocally mutual. So Thank you for those kind words. I am doing amazing, Rich.
Amen.
I truly am. I'm sitting in a new condo.
Won't rub it in.
Yeah, I know. In Miami, which was a leap of faith, and the family as well. Everyone is healthy. What more can you ask for? What
Amen.
more can you ask for?
How the boys and the girls doing?
Yes. All of them are well. Two the girls are graduated and on to their endeavors, so they are well. They are healthy. That's always important
Yeah.
because money means nothing if you don't have your health. Health is a part of wealth. So they are really amazing. My oldest daughter is actually in Texas now. She went out to do some things there that she's always wanted to do. She's very artistic in her nature. My boys are doing great. They're still in high school. They are not returning to the formal classroom, but they're doing good. They're going to be doing their online stuff, and we're going to be supporting that. They are home in Maryland, but I cannot wait until they and my wife get back here to Miami. I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, I think you recently made that move to Miami. This was it the last few months.
Um,
So it's been
July.
a work in progress, right?
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, right.
This is Rich. In March, when it was only information that we were being bombarded with, that's all it was about COVID. I found myself wandering aimlessly around my house, and I had too much to do to be doing that. There are too many people, employees and leadership team that are dependent upon me for me to be kind of bound up in my heart and in my spirit. So my wife and I, we said, look, we're going to take about 10 days. We don't know what's going to happen. We almost thought it was irresponsible of us. But we said we're going to take about 10 days and head out to Florida. It was cold back home in Maryland, and we said we'll be able to get up in the morning, go on morning walks, clear our mind, and try to work through whatever this is in COVID. We have not been home since March, like really. So we ended up meeting some individuals. We got some good traction and decided to launch our business here in Miami.
Love it, man. So we're 5 minutes into this podcast, and people are probably wondering, who is this guy? Who is George Anderson? Who is this guy that Rich speaks so highly of? I've had the pleasure of knowing you, and maybe some of our viewers that I see that are signing on and logging on do know you personally. But for those who do not know who George Anderson is, please give us the 411. Give us the detail. Give us the background. Who is George Anderson?
So, you know what, Rich, and I'm going to apologize before I start, because some of what I might say, you might not even know. So I'm going to share.
Please do.
So George is a gentleman with humble beginnings. I can remember being a young lad in North Carolina where when it rained, I knew to push my cot.
Wow.
Up against the bed of my great grandmother because it rained on my side of the bedroom. That's yeah. So wow. You can do it too. Trust me. That's George Anderson. That is, the church going George Anderson, with that when the mothers of the church and the deacons of the church clapped and stomped, you could feel the floor rocking beneath your feet. That is truly a part of the culmination of who I am, having a grandfather that I knew and loved, whose name was George Anderson, knew him well, followed him in North Carolina around, and only to get to college, to get to my first Black history lesson, and find out some of the postures that African-American men in particular of old would do with their hands in the praying motion between their legs and their eyes down and not looking in the eyes of a white man, and realizing in that college course that he was describing my grandfather. And I didn't know it. And so I ran out of class crying and called my grandfather in that moment and said, "Granddaddy, you don't have to do that anymore. That was in the 1990s.
Wow.
That's the culmination of who George Anderson is. Having that work ethic and then converting it. Any of what some might seem or feel like was pain in the process, or victories in the process, using it all as compound interest to become who I am today. Someone who is family oriented first, God centered first. I can do nothing without my wife and my family around me, loving me and me loving them, honoring them. So that's who George Anderson is. But when you talk about, all of the cliches and stuff about grind, no, I'm gonna be up at 4 a.m.
That's right.
I'm gonna be down around midnight, and my wife gets on me, and she has to pull me back because, George, you cannot expect for people to do that day in and day out. And that's who George Anderson is, because there's too much on the line as it relates to honoring God, as it relates to wanting to say to someone like Rich, if not Rich or someone else, that I want to be in a position, not to buy another car, whatever, to say I'm putting your kids through college.
Yeah.
That is not an ideal for just another population of people. That is the ideal for anyone of any, I'm going to go there, any religion, any background, any ethnicity, any skin color. If you put your mind to it, you have integrity, you have humility. Now you need to find a product or a service that you can offer the world. And you have those attributes, you can do it. That's who George Anderson is.
Let's talk about those products and services. You touched on those. Because that's part of who you are too. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to start with Vital Hydro. Right? It was birthed in part, Rich, by you, because before there was a Vital Hydro, there was a Flint, Michigan issue. And my heart was broken, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna call people that I know, I love, people that I mentor, and I just wanna take the biggest truck that I can and load it with water and personally drive that water to Flint, Michigan. That's what I want to do. And I made a couple calls, and some guy was like, well, you know what? The entire city of Baltimore is about to be at your disposal. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. The truck that I don't have a CDL, Rich. Wait a minute. He's like, well, you better find a way.
That's right.
And so with your help and with the help of others, Rich, we literally took over 60,000 cases of water.
Well documented.
Yeah. So the emphasis, Rich, is on that, not Vital Hydro per se, but because it is appropriate to talk about Vital Hydro, there was a gentleman in whom I care deeply for. His name is Lorenzo Johnson. He came to me, he was like, George, you're doing this thing with Flint, Michigan. I have a company that I'm trying to wrap my arms around, and I don't necessarily know how to fully do that. I have an opportunity to secure the rights to a naturally occurring spring. I'm close to just closing out this business, but I believe that you can step in and take this business from where I've been able to get it to so much further. So I did some investigation, we formed a partnership, and as they say, the rest is history. So the point, going back to the first point about Flint, Michigan, Rich, I wasn't looking for a business opportunity. I was looking for an opportunity to do what? Be generous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That I didn't know at that time that he was working and tinkering with this idea, which was a great idea. I didn't know that. All I knew is that my heartstrings were being tugged on, and I had to do something. Out of generosity of my heart and the generosity of people like you, we made it happen. And out of that came Vital Hydro, which has been a blessing to me and my family.
Amen. I mean, I vividly remember that trip. I vividly remember that season that we were in.
The snowstorm that we had.
I really want you to talk about the obstacles that you faced personally, the amount of work that it required, to get those trucks not only loaded, but funding it.
Yeah.
I believe you came out your pocket with your own personal money. I mean, those are things that when we talk about, a heart that is big and full of love and generosity. Like let's dive deeper and talk about that the process of taking, water from Maryland, PG County, and going to like all these different drop-off zones and picking it. Like, George, give us the download, like, so people can truly understand what that was all about.
The first thing I had to do, Rich, was, and this will translate no matter where people are, your viewers are, I had to get past fear. That was the first. Before I opened my mouth to say anything, I didn't want to, because I was like, a truck, I mean, and what if I don't fill the truck up? Then you're going to look stupid, George.
Right.
Like, so I got past the fear part. So people, please listen to that. When you are setting out to do something different, do something bold, you are going to be faced with that oftentimes, but you just take the first step. So that's what I did. So now the first step. When I took the first step, it took on a life of its own. Rich, you will recall we had to come up with a hashtag so that people knew it was us. Hashtag MD, or Maryland to Flint water driver, right? Yeah. So there were people who were getting my phone number and I could not keep pace. Here's what happened. Diving deeper. So the one truck that I could drive, I called Penske, and I just was going to rent a truck, right? And it is, whatever, $126 a day for their 26-foot truck and $1 something per mile. I'm like, okay, I'll pay it, whatever. I'm not going until this date. And they're like, okay. Now I call them back, and I need 2 trucks. They're like, well, who's going to drive it? You got to send that driver up. And that's like, okay, I'll send them over. Now I need 3 trucks. And Penske's like, what are you doing? And I told Penske what I was doing. They said, well, look, this is what we're going to do for you. We're going to give you the trucks at like $200 per truck, unlimited miles. You keep them for however long you want. We're in with you. So again, when you take the first step, people will step up. And so now we're going to Sam's. There are nonprofit organizations like yours that'll say, okay, in addition to me helping you collect, I'm going to go to Sam's and buy a pallet of water to put on one of the trucks. And so we get to Sam's and I need to buy a pallet of water or 2. Sam's like, what are you doing? We tell them, look, we're taking water. And they're like, you know what? You want 2 pallets? We're going to give you 5 more. I'm like, oh my God, Again, if you just take the first step, people will meet you right where you are. Yeah. So now in the blessing part where we're receiving, I have to do all of the logistical work because I have to get this water being donated by people across this area. Ward-off Cadillac, Ward-off Chevy, they cleared out their entire showroom floor, and they put signs up in the windows, and their local business owners, their customers, they were bringing cases, and they were literally dropping off truckloads of water. And so diving a little deeper, going back to Penske and putting out a clarion call to say, I need help. Truck drivers stepped up, Rich. We had to load those trucks the night before, and volunteers came out. You're talking about fraternities, sororities. They stepped up to help us load the truck. The point is, yes, there was a lot of heavy lifting, but along the process, you cast off fear, number 1. Number 2, you will get the help you need in the process, even when it doesn't feel like it. Even when it feels like it's becoming larger than you, stay the course.
Yeah.
That's what we did together, Rich. And that's diving a little bit deeper behind the scenes of what happened.
Yeah, I love the fact that usually I will reserve this question for the end of our podcast for you to drop some calls to action, but I think it's appropriate right now for some things that you just said about dropping fear and just getting started, because a lot of what you do, and I've seen how you lead and how you bring vision to life. I love the fact that anybody has the capacity to literally, if they envision something, and this
Yes.
is what you just touched on, if you envision something, the biggest thing you can do is to get started and
Yes.
trust and believe that help is going to come along the way. Because sometimes I'm sure you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do all of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The vision is so big and so grand and so mighty,
Mm-hmm.
and in our own minds, we create this fear that stops us from actually manifesting the greatness that's in us.
Yes. Yeah, that fear is important to get over. It's two things actually working together, whether people realize it or not, or at least one or the other, the fear of failure or the fear of success.
True.
Because even in success, we realize that there comes a lot of responsibility.
Hmm.
Everyone oftentimes wants the tapestry of Mark Zuckerberg or someone. You want the wealth. You want to be able to have the financial means to give like they can give. But no one wants to show up on the hill when you're being questioned by senators and congressmen about how you're handling your business. No one wants that part of the success.
Yeah.
So even sometimes it's the fear of success that shows up and creeps up in us, and we have to beat it down. We have to persevere and we have to overcome. We have to have the fear and do it anyway. If we truly believe we are called to take that first step and go about this endeavor and pursue it. But there's another point. In all of the deep diving that we did, and I was talking about having to get the trucks and things of that nature, and all the water that was given, all the volunteers, it was a beautiful thing. Guess what? We didn't do it perfectly. There was water left behind, right? You have never gone to an establishment more than 10 times and haven't experienced something that may have been below par, right? Whether it's the Cheesecake Factory, whether it's the Walmart, or whatever it is, we all have these amazing experiences sometimes with them, and then we have some experiences like, wow, that wasn't right. The point here is this. If you are going to measure yourself by absolute perfection, you'll never do it. There is no organization, and we know this in theory, but sometimes when it comes to us personally, it's like, well, no, because I need 10 ducks in a row and I only have 9. Well, you might not ever have 10. It's not even designed for you to have 10, because now you're trying to be God. You're trying to have no one, oftentimes, at any point in time, not the largest of companies, whether you are Dell Computers, whether you are Apple, etc. Why do I have to wait another 2 weeks for the new iPhone? No one has all of the answers.
Yeah.
So that fear creeps up in various ways. But when you've done your due diligence, when you've studied, you've done your homework, and you've done all that you can do, you've got to be able to stand on that and then move forward.
Absolutely. I love that. While we're still on Flint, Michigan, do you have any story or any individual while you were over there in Michigan that stands out? I know a lot of good was done. A lot of people received water. What was it? What was the total amount that was delivered? If we want to measure it in liters or cases, but more so, do you have a story that stands out that touched you, to your core?
Well, I think there's two things. Um, yeah. So, Rich, I can feel it in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, the families, the people. Rich, we were standing out in the snow, handing out water to no shortage of people pulling up.
Mm.
And there was a tan Buick, I'll never forget, a tan Buick that pulled up. You can tell she was one of those mothers, like a grandmother. Kids were jumping over the front and back seats. They were well behaved. They weren't like bad kids. It was a mother, a grandmother doing the best that she could. I happened to be offloading and people were going back and forth to other cars as they were pulling up. And I had about 30 seconds maybe to speak with her. And she told me that how appreciative she was that they will be able to take a bath tonight with this water.
Wow.
Yeah, we take a lot for granted. So that she'd be able to bathe her kids tonight, her grandbabies, and she'd have enough left for their breakfast in the morning.
Mm.
I reached in my pocket and I gave her everything I had, Rich. It's like, we complain. Let me go back to the point we were just talking about. We have the audacity to have family and friends, our health, a sound mind, and all of these assets at our disposal, and have the audacity to have the brilliancy and the gift of a wonderful idea and yield to fear.
Mm.
Who are you? Who are you? So when I think of your question and that which really impacted me, it spoke the story of why we, Rich, needed to drive through the snow there and back, spend the night, and do what we did. That impacted me greatly. And the other thing, Rich, was really realizing as I went back multiple times, sitting in meetings with community leaders, they thanked everyone for the water. But they said, if you can bring alkaline water, that would be best, because they had lead in their system. And there were some leaders that were talking about alkaline water and how it can help these children really flush out some of the lead. It would help in the process, bringing the alkalinity level in the bodies up to help aid in that battle against the lead. And that is really when the light bulb went off for me, because there had been a dispensation of time between our first trip and this trip that I'm referring to. And in between that time, I had already been engaging with Lorenzo concerning Vital Hydro. And so the light bulb went off. So that was the other thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was major. So
yeah,
those are the two things that stood out.
I mean, that definitely stands out. I want to welcome everybody who's watching the Fuel by Generosity podcast. Again, I am joined today by my guest, George Anderson, who is the founder, CEO of Vital Hydro Alkaline Water, and Sun Concierge, a major staffing company in the DMV area and now in Florida. And we've been talking about, your work with bringing clean water to people in Flint, Michigan, and just overall. So I want to welcome you all wherever it is that you are joining in from. Please make sure you let us know. Place your comments, place your questions, so we can ask George if you have any questions. I want to make a shift right now, George. Right now, you're wearing this black shirt that has a bright orange sun-looking kind of thing as the logo. I do recognize it, and I want you to introduce that other company that you have, I would say, phenomenally built over the last few years that I've known you to what it is today. Tell us more about Sun Concierge.
So the origin of Sun Concierge and Staffing is truly from another company that was birthed roughly 14 years ago. It is important that people listen to the birth of this because out of the ashes can come some beautiful things. It was actually my father-in-law who lost his job as a telephone repairman. He became a concierge for another company. And the luxury high-rise where he was working approached him shortly after and said to him, listen, we were getting ready to cut the contract for the company you work for. But when you arrived, you made it profoundly difficult for us to do so because you raised the bar. You literally are the epitome of what a concierge should be. And they said, we'd like to give you the contract. And so he called his daughter, my wife, and I, and said, look, what do I do? And so we wrote the contract for him. We set up the business. We helped him set up the business. And we kind of walked away until I realized that he was working himself to death. Right? He was trying to work every single hour. And it dawned on me, like, you know, we might be on to something here. Let me step up, Mr. Jones, and help you out. I know I have a 9 to 5, but you know, I have this grit and determination. I'll get up early, I'll stay up late, and we'll build this company. So I started with the infrastructure. So whether that was human resource manuals, understanding the industry, setting up a website, all of the things that he did not do and didn't know to do, quite frankly, training manuals, etc. And the company began to grow. What happened is that one customer began to feel the impact of some changes and adjustments I was making based on training, implementing uniforms, etc., and raising the level of concierge services at their front desk. And so we had an opportunity to really grow from there, and we did. So you go from one property to 2 to 10 to 15 and on and on and on. It grew because I refused to go in front of any board, any potential client, and do a dog and pony show, Rich. I will put on the best presentation I can, but it absolutely will not end there for me.
Yeah.
The most important thing I can do for any client who signs a contract for $250,000 plus is to deliver on the service that I promised them I would. And I will go to any length. My phone is on 24 hours a day. My leadership team's phone is on 24 hours a day. And I do not play games when it comes to servicing our customers. Customer service, as some of us know, it can be lacking in so many different areas. I do not play that game. And they feel the impact of it. Even when, not if, even when things go wrong, we are on it in an instant. We don't make any excuses. So what happened in the evolution of our growth, there are times where you have to reinvent yourself. You have to reimagine yourself. We're going through that now. I did it before COVID because I've lived long enough to know that sometimes you are compelled. You don't know why. You throw everything up in the air. You reach and grab what is good. You toss out what is not, and you reinvent yourself. So I induced that by changing from SP Jones Enterprises to Sun Concierge and Staffing, taking on a totally new look, a totally new vibe, a totally new direction, and it is working. Some now have been thrust into that position by COVID in one way or another. But when you feel the unction or something compelling you that you kind of stagnant, you've grown and you've done well, and you feel something in your heart that says you gotta mix things up, you better go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Because the universe will manifest something on your behalf if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, I totally agree with that. And just being able to see how the entire family, your wife included, my big sister, with your father-in-law, how you all went through some very tough times, but yet,
Yes.
as we said, the phoenix rises from the ashes, and where you are right now is an inspiration to me, and a few other people that you mentor along the way. And I see, quite a few of them who are logging on and sign on, and they're checking you out. Christoph Jenkins is like Beer Gang, and a few other people, they're putting out the peace sign. But George, the one thing that, I, for one, have always taken away from you, and where you run your business, you've built it around this principle of generosity. You and I have had multiple discussions on how to make generosity as part of your growth strategy. But for you, that's a natural thing. And you have exhibited, the heart of Christ, per se, and this heart of generosity to use your success in business to be a blessing to others, including myself, including Generosity Global. Where does that come from? What is it about serving others and doing for others that gives you the drive to keep going?
Rich, you mentioned two things: the phoenix rising out of the ashes, and now landing at what drives my generosity. I like to deal with both of those things because I don't want people to think that every day is a sunny day. So if I can deal with that, and I want to thank you for bringing that up, Rich. You've witnessed a season that was more than a month or two, where as I was going through the redevelopment of my business, I suffered. And during that period where I was suffering, it taught me more than any season of wealth of gaining could have ever taught me. It taught me things about myself. So I retracted for a lot of different reasons. And what it taught me is that there is a time for that. There's a time to rescind, to retract, and to focus and steady yourself and get your emotions together, because what you are going through is truly tough. But if you persevere, if you can muster the strength to drive through every obstacle, every brick wall, become creative, and it might happen in a very unorthodox way. When I was lacking finances, I told my wife, I need a retreat. Like, that felt irresponsible, but it was one of the best things I could have ever done during that season. So the point here about Phoenix rising from the ashes is that you can do that even if you hit a tough spot. Mm-hmm. And it directly dovetails into your other point. Where does this drive to give come from? Part of it, Rich, is because I don't have to be here. I don't.
True.
So you're just gonna hoard every single dollar. There is a place for saving. There's a place for investing, and there's likewise a place in your heart that you must have for giving. And Yes, it comes from a place where I wish I had someone that was in my place that could say, "Come here, young fella, I got you. You know, I'm not going to give it to you, but I can show you the way and help you
Yeah.
along the way
Yeah.
if you need help."
Teach a man to fish.
There you go. And so it comes from that place. It comes from a place of where I told you I came from. And so, Rich, three in particular, college athletes, knowing them since the latter years of high school. I didn't know this was over 7-8 years ago. Okay, started mentoring them. They graduate from high school, go on to college. My wife and I, they need tuition. They're about to get put out, so here's your rent. Rings when they get to playoffs and championships, and phone calls from their parents in the middle of the night. You better come get them. I'm a killer. The whole nine. Bailing them out of jail. Guess what, Rich? Generosity. Giving from your heart. Jacking one up by the collar. Two of the 3 young men came to visit me in Miami. They left here less than a week ago. All three of them said, guess what? We're investing in your business. They graduated from college 3.5 years ago. They're doing well for themselves. They said, I ain't talking about 5, 10, 15,000. All three of them, not collectively, individually. All three of them said, we're investing. 2 of the 3 said, we're moving to Miami with you. We're going to help you grow your business.
Wow.
8 years ago, when they were snotty-nosed high school young whippersnappers that I had to tell, pull your pants up, I had no idea. You sow a seed and it is okay. I didn't know how. I was proud to have a feather in my cap that these young men had grown to be successful, to be articulate, and to take care of, they don't have personal family, but take care of their parents. I was proud of that. You sow seeds, and that, what I just described, them taking care of themselves and their moms and dads, is what I expected from the seed I sowed. But look at the harvest. So even though, Rich, I am not with you in Africa, I know the harvest that you're trying to bring, and it's a part of my harvest. So that's why you sow. So if you have to have something tangible in your hand as the reason why you give, then I'd prefer for you to keep your money. It's probably best. It's probably best, because you're going to be tormented if you can't touch the well in Africa.
Yeah.
You're going to be tormented.
Absolutely.
Because you need to touch the water. You need to drink. So that's why I give. Because what you do is just one part of my harvest.
Yeah. And what you say, what I do is what we do collectively, because you have been a big supporter of Generosity Global since we got introduced about 5 years ago by a mutual friend, Christoph Jenkins. And ever since then, you all started coming out to Selfless Saturday. And then it branched up into, hey, George, I need some valet parkers at Mission Ball. And I know you have this company. Could you show up for us? And before I knew you, like, I'm going to send you, 6 people who are going to help park your vehicles for your guests so they can have a great guest experience. And then that grew into future Mission Ball events where we are talking about sending a whole team that can handle the guest experience. I mean, George, like, for some companies, this is a X and O thing where it all has to make sense financially for them. But for you, you're like, I have this at my disposal and I want to use it for good. Like, why is it such an important thing that you, as a business owner, as a leader, lead with generosity and giving back and serving organizations like Generosity Global that has a similar vision as you to help them out?
Yeah, because Rich, we have to. We are a community, and we are a body of people. If we do not do it for ourselves, amongst ourselves, no matter what us look like and where we come from, that's immaterial. When you find the synergy, you have a duty. In my book, you have a responsibility. And this is something I tell everyone, and I'll say it live here. I oftentimes, a week does not go by where I don't think to myself, we all say tomorrow's not promised. Well, guess what? What do you want people to know of you whenever you're lying in your casket? This is my legacy. When I look at the greats, who we may consider the greats, they are givers at levels that we cannot even imagine. They are starting schools on different continents. They are putting kids by the hundreds through college and doing a host of things that we would never, ever know about. So I look to the greats. And I look to also, for me, I look to biblical principles about giving. I look to the reality on earth about sowing a seed and what this farmer gets back in return. I am not necessarily looking for fruit in a basket or money in a container back. Some of what we get back is just a smile on someone's face. And that has to be enough. That has to be motivation enough oftentimes for you to take care of a group of grandmothers' dinner sitting at the table adjacent to you, out just having a good time, the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And they never know your name. You leave the restaurant before they do. If that's not enough for you, and that is not motivation, then you're giving for the wrong reason. So I give from a place of seeing someone else happy, someone else flourishing, someone else doing better than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's the place I give from.
And I mean that is from the few short years I've known you, even when the source was dry, you still gave. Yeah. Even when the source was empty, you still found a way to give. Like, George, why? A lot of people just
I know what's going on, George. It's okay.
I don't have it, man. I ain't got time for you. But like, you have this commitment to give, not just, again, I love what you have done for Generosity, but I've seen others who have been who have benefited from your life, right? Because I always believe, like, we have to recognize people while they are still alive. And George, a lot of people may not tell you that. You have invested in a lot of startup businesses, friends who have brought you a business idea, and you have put money behind it. Some have succeeded, some have failed, but you're still like, why, George? Like, why?
Yeah, we have to, Rich. There's no other way. How are we? First of all, the other part of the why, Rich, is some people make it easy too. Some people like you and others make it easy. I have a friend, a brother, his name is Linwood Makins. He's owned a shop off of Central Avenue for many years, and so I've invested in him. I have another friend who came to me and said, look, George, we're trying to open a body shop. We're trying to do this, new equipment. I trusted him. He made it. His name is Darrell at Arc Motorsports in Clinton. He made it easy for me because of his integrity, because of his character. So some of it is the position you hold as an individual. Make it easy for someone else, a little bit easier for someone else to invest in. It is an investment at the end of the day, not one where you're looking for a financial or other return, but it is an investment in you, Rich, because I simply believe in you. And sending it out, I am simultaneously saying, God, I believe this is where it's supposed to go.
Mm.
And I believe that if I am ever in a position that Rich is in, or that Linwood or Darrell or Lorenzo or whoever is in, that you will look upon me favorably too. You might not get it back in dollars and cents, but you will get it back nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Those are the driving factors. I mean, it's just who I am. You have to be that. You can't.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. You have, like we say on this, you got to be about that life, right?
Yeah.
It has to be, this is who I am. This is my makeup. This is in my DNA. Given without expectation of return. I think the trick to it, the blessing in it is knowing that, for me personally, being able to serve people and seeing the joy that comes from their face, being able to deliver a shower to a woman yesterday who visited our shower truck for the very first time, and something as simple as a new T-shirt for her was the world.
Right.
That necessarily did not cost me anything. It was just more about there was a service that was created to provide such need, but really somebody else made a donation for that T-shirt to bless this woman. See, the lesson here and what I've really taken away from this is sometimes we are put in a position where it may not necessarily be a position of financial strength, but as leaders, we have the capacity to influence others to move in a direction that can be a blessing to other people and their lives.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And so I have seen you move in that space time in and time out. But the great thing about it is you haven't moved in that space by yourself. You have a significant other. Who, I mean, I love how you
Rich.
You too operate in this space. We got to bring her into this conversation.
Absolutely. That woman, Rich, I can't do it without her. I'm talking, baby, I'm invited to a small meeting with the Sheikh of Dubai. Can I go? Absolutely, go. Because that's for our family. Baby, I'm in Dubai and I can take a meeting in either Saudi Arabia or in India. Go, sweetheart, go. Because Rich, 17 years, June 11th. When we got married, we did our own personal retreat. 3 days. You take off of work for everything else. 3-day in-house retreat, and we wrote our vision and made it plain. So they that read it can run thereby. We know our vision. It has woven us together. Me honoring her and her honoring me. It is a key to the recipe.
You're saying that you're getting a lot of hearts and loves by you speaking of your woman in that way, man. You're getting a lot of hearts and loves, man. That's real.
Well,
keep on.
It's real. If she was here, she would say the same thing. This is not for the camera.
Nah.
Oh, listen, what? Huh? You didn't put no toilet paper on the roll. Yes, we go through that too. Absolutely. We are the normal couple.
Yeah.
But I'm saying at the end of the day, we do not go to sleep angry with one another, and we flow so brilliantly together. And I cannot take responsibility for that because my life is utterly crazy. I will call her, and it happens often. I just got to call, I don't know, Tobias or Rico, say, Dr. T, we're going to someplace tonight. I got to get on a plane, whether it's a private flight or whatever. And she's like, go. I need that in order to network in circles that I am uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
So she means the world to me. And I believe the saying, and I'll close here. I believe the saying, if you are married, I don't think it's required, But if you're married and you are a great man, behind every great man is a great woman. I believe that.
Absolutely. I want to read a couple of comments that we're not going to see on the main dashboard, but these are through my personal Facebook page, and I want to give you these comments while we're live because, again, I have had the blessing and opportunity to get to know you as a person and know your heart and know your drive. But people who are watching you for the first time are experiencing what I've experienced this past few years. And Rachel basically says he's an amazing person, genuine, doesn't take him stating it to feel his heart, 100. You have Ed, who's George. Bless your heart. I genuinely feel your sincerity and won't mind investing in your business. Hashtag keep winning. And again, there's real and then there's fake. And people know that I personally, I'm about my business. I'm about doing things the right way and doing things the transparent way, and the people that I associate with. But for people to see your heart up the top, speaks a lot. And I'm blessed that, again, we talk behind the scenes. Our prayer is that one or two people can be impacted by this conversation in a way that can allow them to bring about change and transform not only their personal lives but their communities. George, we've been before we actually segue out of this. Vital Hydro has been such a great supporter, as well as Sun Concierge, and even what you guys do there. I really want to give you this opportunity to talk about that Vital Hydro company. And, again, I have my water bottle here.
Put that bottle down, please.
I got my alkaline water.
You'll be fine. You can put the bottle down, Rich.
The bottle is good. I mean, the water is good. The water is great. We really need people to look at the alternative, what you're offering with this company and the benefits to it. Tell us more about why is alkaline water superior and why this particular brand is superior to others that may be in the marketplace.
Rich, let me first tell you, it pains me to do this because I don't. Alkaline water is good for you. Why is it good? From the most simplest and basic perspective that most of us know. If you've ever swam in any swimming pool, this is water that simply touch your skin. It doesn't enter your bodies and flow through your organs and help oxygenate and hydrate your body. It's simply water that touches your skin. That water that simply touches your skin has to be at a certain pH level. It has to be. That's alkalinity, meaning that water cannot be acidic. So when we talk about alkalinity, on the most basic elementary level, that's what we're talking about. So the easiest way for me to oftentimes put it is, these, basic or regular, whatever you want to call it, water is going to harm you. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that if you want true hydration, the way your body needs it to help you fight off disease as well, you need alkaline water. And I go so far as to say, because we're still emerging, that if you cannot get your hands on Vital Hydro, just buy alkaline water. It's best for you.
Love it.
I don't want to talk about Vital Hydro.
Yeah. I see how you dance around, but the great thing about this is for every purchase that comes in, Vital Hydro directly supports Generosity Global in our efforts to bring clean water to Africa. What does that mean to you? I mean, we've done the Flint drive and stuff here in America, but being able, and I know your big goal, your big is to be able to drill your own personal well in
Yeah.
Africa. What does that mean to you as being able to leverage this business that is related to water to be able to give somebody else water in 6,000 miles away that will not necessarily have access to water?
Yeah, well, I've not gone to the regions of Africa where you're going, but I have been to Nigeria. And to go and to see what you see in certain areas, not in all areas, but in certain areas, you want to give. You wish, for those who have the heart, you wish you had more. You wish you had the Jeff Bezos resources to just swoop in and help these families who have, and these children who have potential. So the source is this: to give and to help. I don't have to have his money. Do what you can. That's it. Do what you can, and the rest will come. And if I do, and Rich, if you do, and if your viewers do, then collectively we can do more than what any Jeff Bezos can do. That's how I think.
I love that. I mean, it's a perfect way to bring this to a close. It's already been an hour. Imagine that. I felt like we had 15 more minutes, but as I land this plane, as we land this plane together, our viewers have been watching us for the past 60 minutes, 61 minutes and 28 seconds now and counting. Call to action regarding being generous, about being a giver, about doing good. What word in business, what words could you impart to our viewers and those who are either watching live or somebody who's going to be listening to this at a later date on the podcast? What parting words of wisdom as well as a call to action would you leave with us?
You have financial capital and intellectual capital. You have time capital. Okay. You have, at varying levels, some of us have more intellectual capital and less financial. Some feel like you have more financial, but you have capital to give. Some of you who are, whether you're government workers or you work for a corporation or you own your own business, there is someone next to you somewhere, a budding recent college graduate, or someone like me who has a business that's doing well, that has a unique need, and you have the intellectual capital that can take them from 100,000 to $1 million a year.
Mm.
If you're working with the right people, they're going to take care of you. So sometimes it doesn't always have to be money that you are giving. Sometimes it can simply be your time and your intellectual capital. But the bottom line is to give, and give out of the purity of your heart. Give liberally what you can, whatever that is. And the call to action, Rich, is to simply do that. And don't expect it to be convenient for you to do so. You might have to get up a little early or stay up a little late in all of everything else you have to do. You might have to forego one of those Starbucks coffees so that you can pay for the young man's haircut. It could be as simple as that. Because I don't have it. I don't have it. On your way to Starbucks to get that, whatever it costs, coffee or mocha. But you know that the neighbor down the street and around the corner's son lost their job, and you saw the parents lost their job and the son needed a haircut, and you won't even step up to the plate and don't have any idea the impact that you can make in that 7-year-old's life. When they remember that mom and dad couldn't do it, you did it, didn't ask for anything, and now they're the next millionaire.
Wow.
And you look up and you say, is that little Johnny on the TV? And then 30 seconds into the interview, and they say, yes, and when I was 7. that could be, you have, I don't look for it, but the moment is what matters to me. Just $10 for a haircut. You don't even know. And if you can do that a couple times a month, just give. And we don't have to give 100,000. We don't have to give 10. Just give. It's not that deep, Rich.
You're telling me it's that simple?
It is.
That simple.
It really is. When we come out to Selfless Saturday, right? It's like, I love it because just give. You don't have to come out with $1,000. You don't have to come out with 10,000. Just give. You can come out with books. Rich, you can come out and give. If you're a barber, you can come out and give haircuts. Just give. It's not that deep. It's not that. Just come out. You can give sweaters in the winter and shorts in the summer, and do it respectfully. Do the best. Not holes in the stuff and all that. No. Bring your best out. Bring your best haircut out. Absolutely. I get off on this stuff. Listen, I can do this all day long.
Okay. Man, George, again, the reason why God allowed our paths to cross is the wisdom that you've been able to impart into my life, as well as the counsel that you give me. I guess that 3:00 in the morning calls that we have shared a few times, and just helping me with business things along the way, but at the same time, just your heart, what you do for these young men, and adopting them as your own, and sending them through college, and seeing how that is, those you're harvesting, you're now in that harvest season where they're coming back to say, we want to invest in you and with you. That in itself, I mean, it cannot be stated in a way that says generosity plays a role in this, love played a role in this, God played a role in this. And to that, brother, I say thank you for all that you do. I know that our viewers, we got an order. Just ordered some Vital Hydro. So there we go. Just give. Okay. There you go. Hey. Good. I was trying to sell one today, so I guess to all of our viewers, George, thank you so much for blessing us today. I believe that those who tuned in today we're not sure of what they were going to get, but they have gotten a treat, and I know the people who are going to be tuning in later on are going to be in for something, because this word is going to spread. Like, you need to check out who George Anderson is, and you all need to visit. I did put the wrong website information at the beginning of the show, but you all need to go to vitalhydroalkaline.com. Is that the right website? I'm going to let it scroll.
Vital Hydro, just do vitalhydro.com.
Okay, vitalhydro.com. Okay, so we're going to make sure we go on that website, place some order for some water bottles, so George and his team can continue to do good, as well as serve humanity. George,
can I share a quick
absolutely
discount code?
Yes.
Alkaline 30. Alkaline 30.
Let me type that in so we have that on the screen for those who may not.
We'll give that to your viewers and those who order through
Alkaline 30.
Yes.
Okay, so just go to the website vitalhydro.com and then use that discount code Alkaline 30. I just posted that. Use that discount code, and how much are they saving on that?
They're gonna save 15% off every case of water.
15% off every case of water. Every case adds up. Somebody said just realized he doesn't ship out to Texas, so I think we have some buyers in Texas.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
we'll get it there. We'll get it there.
That's what I'm gonna say. You have. We'll get it there. You're the one person who basically we will make sure all of our viewers who are interested in purchasing. We'll make sure I get your contact information to George, and you can contact him directly by posting. I know he will circle back on his post.
The person in Texas, I will gift it to them. We just need their address.
So we have two. So you hear that, Ed? He will actually gift it to you. And I think, Rachel, you're in Texas as well. So
yes,
he will gift it to you all. Just need your address. So make sure you comment with your address or inbox me your address, and we will get that to you. But guys, it's been an amazing hour and 10 minutes, 70 minutes to be exact. George, thank you so much for blessing us with with your presence, your insights, your heart, your love for people, and thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. We appreciate you. To our viewers, thank you all so much for tuning in today. I hope you all enjoyed the show. We have another amazing guest next week, Mary Latham. She is all about her brand is all about doing good, and her company is called Do More. I think it's More Good. So it's more good. So we are building on this theme.
Sure.
And thank you all so much once again. God bless you all. Remember, we are Generosity Global. We are out. Best.